Digimon World 3 is my favorite turn-based RPG, my favorite monster RPG, and in my frank opinion, one of the best RPGs ever made. Now this is Squirrel RPG, so you know what we do here. Go ahead and like and subscribe. We're gonna get straight into it. This is gonna be a let's play of my favorite game from back in the... Honestly, it's so close between this and Dragon's Dogma, but my favorite game from back in the day, meaning over 20 years ago. So here we go, Digimon World 2003. This is the PAL version. There is a very meaningful difference here in that the PAL version does have a post game, unlike the regular Digimon World 3. So you always have to remember, if you want to play this game yourself, go ahead and find that 2003 version. It's the one you want. Now, this game, we're going to be playing a certain pack. Go ahead and comment below if you want to see me play a different pack than this one, but it's been a very long time since I've played the Maniac pack with Kumamon. And that was actually my first pack I ever played because Kumamon's my favorite of the starters. And I also figured out recently that it's actually the worst of the starters as well, for a plethora of reasons. It can't use any weapons besides like the starting daggers and gloves. It's got the slowest level up speed, and it has the worst Digivolution tree of all starters besides maybe Vmon, but Vmon's actually got a pretty decent one. It's just that its first Digivolution gets kind of screwed over. My name is Squirrel. I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. I can go over a bit of the differences in the packs. Maniac pack is the pack that actually gets Blade or Kendo Garurumon from the 4th season of Digimon. It's the only way you can do so without, going to the DRI or doing some very specific leveling. But this pack just naturally gets it, but we're actually going to throw that advantage away. We're not going to DNA Digivolve. We're not going to use that because we're going to immediately, and I'm going to forget to do so immediately, but we should ideally immediately get rid of our Guilmon. We're only going to be leveling Patamon and Kumamon until we get Vmon, which is going to be about halfway effectively through the game. Now, upcoming, this is one of my favorite cutscenes. It's just such a SAO-esque cutscene. I also think there might be a Yamato server in this game. It just seems that way if you read these prompts that come up during the cutscene. Welcome to the digital world. Alright, now we're in Oscar City. The game's going to slow us down a little bit. So you see that I'm going to toggle frame limit randomly here and there. That's just to make the game move faster because the game does like to move quite slowly at times. But however, my old phone was not as fast as this phone. And on this phone, toggling frame limit is just incredibly, what's the word? Uncontrollable here, and in most situations. So I'm going to pick my spots. I'm going to have to toggle on and off often, and I'm going to have to get used to when I want to do that. So you can see I'm quite a bit rusty on this game. It's been maybe 2-3 years since I've played it properly. Longer than that, actually. We're going to start generating our Digimon, and after the Digimon are generating, you're going to see our first real objective come up on top on a UBS-esque UI. That's just something I've added in post-production. In the real game, you don't see this bar that's about to pop up on the top here. It's just to let you know what I'm actually thinking about. So as you see, a bar for Pharaohmon at level 8 just popped up here. That's going to be there for the remaining future. It's going to remind you that right now we need to get to level 8 and we need to fight Pharaohmon. There's also on the sidebar my own personal guide that I've accumulated different tricks and tips for, just to make sure I don't miss anything too important. But it's not completely complete, so I'm going to rewrite it at times just to make sure that I get things correct. But yeah, those are my notes for things, so I definitely don't miss those. So as you see me stare at my save state screen, I'm actually kind of thinking to myself, wow, I have all my old save states from, I think, 2015, 2017-ish. And I have no way to save over them quite yet. But I will eventually fix this, maybe 30 minutes down the line. I'll figure out something. So Kumamon is the only Digimon that doesn't even have enough MP to use its starting move. So you just, fortunately, it is strong enough. It's basically a big dumb attacker, so it's strong enough to just straight up start attacking. It has 10 MP. Gilmon has 130. Patamon has 170. It's so bad. I'm just flabbergasted and just looking at these numbers like, wow, that's that's a hilarious outcome. But then again, its regular attack goes ahead and does almost the Quagomon's entire bar. So that's kind of what we're going to lean on for Kumamon for the foreseeable future. Alright, so the game's going to automatically scoop us on over to the Digimon lab. There's not actually anything of value we can do here, but I don't know that because it's been so long since I played this game. So I'm going to talk to everybody anyway. And then after that, we're going to go about our business. We got a lot to do. We got to go grab some bits from the sewers because money in the sewers is always clean. You should always touch it, guys. Just kidding. Don't try that at home. We got to go to the Yellow Cruiser to get a card folder. You're not actually going to learn card battle there. You're just going to get a card folder. And then we're going to do some leveling. So on my sidebar, it says level to 5. I will fix that later, say level to 3, because you really only need to level to 3 at first. Here is the Guardiamon that allows you to save. I am going to eventually, hopefully, toggle on frame limit because this is so slow. Oh my gosh, this reminds me of being young again and just how much time you spend staring at that load bar. This isn't the load bar, but this isn't the save bar, by the way. The save bar is worse. Here, you want to see it in a minute. And I hope you love elevator music because you're going to get a lot of it. But don't worry, I will toggle on frame limit for every other save screen that you see, hopefully. But spoiler alert, I've seen the rest of this video because I played it, so I do toggle frame limit for everything else. Yeah, look how slow this is. This is the one I'm telling you about. Oh yeah, I did it here too. Good. Yeah, And that's with my phone performing at breakneck speeds. And it was still several seconds long. I think that bar normally lasts like 20-25 seconds by itself. Alright, we're gonna go to the yellow cruiser here. We're actually gonna try to go to the El Dorado first because, again, I'm rusty, I don't remember everything. And then we're gonna go around to the yellow cruiser, which has the yellow top. It should have been easy to remember, but yeah. These guys are all talking about cards that you don't have any access to, and it's so interesting. It's like, oh yeah, this is how it should look, and they give you cards, and it's like, I can't do anything with these cards. These cards are trash. Yeah, another save. I didn't want to redo everything I just redid. I'm toggle frame limit off because I've learned my lesson about that struggle. And yeah, now we're going to go train finally, it looks like. As soon as I can figure out how to not be on the wrong stream. There we go. Out to Central Park. So the problem with Central Park, the problem with this game in general when you start it off is that it's very, very brutal. It's extremely brutal. Like, you think Route 1 and 2 in Pokemon are bad? No. These are bad. This game starts brutally and it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the game. It's like you're in trouble until you're not. And then once you think you're kind of solid, you're going to be in more trouble later. So there's just kind of this ebb and flow between badges of, okay, I feel like I'm getting on top of the truck, and then no, I'm not on the horse at all. Kumamon unfortunately has the best stats for just straight up punching things in the face, so it doesn't really have a timer on it except its own health. The other two guys, which I really should not be training Gilmon, but I forgot that I'm supposed to put him away. So actually, that's something I could have done at the Digimon lab earlier, was put Gilmon away. But Gilmon's not a bad Digimon, it's just that I'm going to be using Vmon instead, because Vmon's kind of the special baby, and I always make sure I use that guy instead. But Gilmon's actually quite a good Digimon. Yeah, so if you would like to, you can skip to the 22-second mark, and that'll be the end of this grind. Basically, just getting up to level 5. In the middle of it, I will be putting Gilmon away finally. I'll finally figure out what I'm doing wrong here. But yeah, the basics are that Patamon has a very hard timer with Boom Bubble. Takes 30 MP every time, so you can use a varying amount. Maybe 6, maybe 8, maybe 10 per level, or per time you come out. So it's very inefficient to not level with Patamon if you're very close to leveling, because your MP doesn't go up. Like your total MP, your remaining MP doesn't go up when you level. So you want to make sure that you're getting the maximum amount of uses per each Patamon outing. Kumamon really doesn't matter. Yeah, he just comes out and he beats things up, so he's very easy to deal with. This is the one time where having Kumamon is a very good advantage here, but for the rest of the game he's going to start becoming a disadvantage. And again, you see me stuck on stupid with these save screens. Like, man, I don't know. Do I want to just delete one or what? And then I finally say, screw it, I'm going to move forward. And yeah, that's what we're going to do here. We're going to keep running around, moving forward. Yeah, I really don't have much to add to this. I'm just going to keep leveling here. It's Route 1 in Pokemon. You've played that game, you've played this game then. Up until about the first badge. After the first or second badge, really the third badge, things start going very sideways. And that's just what I love about this game, is how sideways things go from your expectations. Kind of like a subversion of your expectations. If you've played Pokemon, you expect it to be, I beat all the 8 gym leaders, or the 4 gym leaders in this case. Spoiler alert, there are 8. I beat the 8 leaders, I beat the Elite 4, or in this case, I guess it would be like the Dark Dungeon, like the 3 leaders in the Dark Dungeon, and you become World Champion. And none of that happened in the original Digimon World 3. They do eventually give you a World Championship in this version, where you can actually become the champion in the PAL 2003 version. But in Digimon World 3 original, yeah, you weren't trying to become a master. Your only job was to save the world eventually. So you got the first badge, the second badge, everything went as planned. The third badge was kind of sideways, because now you have some criminals, and they kidnap you, and you break out of jail, and then you go find a real gym leader and you beat him, and he gives you the badge. And then the fourth badge is really the sixth badge, because you end up going to a whole different server where it's been taken over by the cyber terrorist. Everybody's been turned into pigs, and you get 2 badges from there. And then you go to the north sector and back in Asuka here, and you finally get your 4th badge here, which is really your 6th. And you beat the quote-unquote Elite 4 of this game, but it's really the Dungeon Masters. And there's only 3 of them: the Ice Dungeon, Fire Dungeon, and Dark Dungeon. And the reason you beat them isn't to become the champion. You beat them so that you can go back to the real world for 180 seconds to try to stop evil Digimon that's combined with a piece of military hardware, right, from blowing everything up. I know this is like massive spoilers. I probably should put a spoiler tag right before this, but yeah. And then, yeah, the subversion of the plot is just so crazy with this game. And then it comes down to the point where there's just like almost no, like, you think this is this is not Pokemon anymore. This is something very, very different. It's very, very dark and grown up. And it's almost to the point like, I wish Pokemon did a game like this a long time ago. Like, you know how crazy it would be? Just like how crazy it was when Pokemon gave us 16 badges in Generation 2, and then you had to fight yourself. Like, that was a huge plot twist for the time it was. If you were 8, 9, 10 years old and you experienced that for the first time, it's like, wow, that's crazy. And then Blue, or Gary, was the 16th gym leader, and then it's like, oh, Ash or Red is all the way up in over there, and he's got a level 81 Pikachu. Yeah, it's cool. It's really, really cool. I wish Pokemon took chances like that more often. And that's why I love Digimon World 3 so much, is because it did something that you don't expect so many games to do, which is take the standard formula and just adultify it, number one, and number two, turn it on its head so bad. Like, yeah, it's such a different game, and it's such a fun game, but it's also brutally hard, to the point where it took me forever. I think it took me an entire summer to beat it my first time playing it. And it was fun the entire time, except for the times where I got stuck in West Sector. I still have, I have trauma, PTSD from West Sector. I'm looking forward to it. There's a few places I just don't want to go. Um, West Sector in general is on the top of my list of places I do not want to go. And then Jungle Grave. Like, once the game starts really getting um, difficult, which is basically after the second badge, that's when I start going, oh my gosh. But hopefully we've got a game plan that's going to alleviate a lot of that difficulty rise and make it a lot easier than it is normally casually playing. So here you can see we've transitioned into hyperspeed. Right now we've been grinding for about 8 minutes. The total grind from 1 to 5 is going to be 9. So in about less than a minute we'll be moving on to actual questing. Stay tuned for that. We'll be having some fun finally after getting the first tedious part out of the way. And we'll get our first evolutions. So hindsight being 2020, at level 3, I should have already had about 700, 600 bits that I could have used to grab some equipment, some weapons especially, in order to train a lot faster from 4 to 5, because level 5 obviously took forever for Kumamon. So that's just the takeaway for next time, is that after getting level 3, I'm going to buy weapons, including at least 1 bamboo spear. And really, you need 1 because dagger's stronger. You're going to need that bamboo spear for later in order to get the fishing rod. So don't forget to grab that, because if you don't grab that, you're going to have to go all the way back to Asuka City, and that's just an extra couple load screens. I think like 4 load screens, because you got the bridge in between it. Now, grabbing 2 leather gloves here might be a misplay, but honestly, it turns out fine enough, so I don't hate the mistake. It only cost me 200 extra bit. I'm going to go ahead and use both those in order to boost my strength up. Now, whether the dagger is stronger than a leather glove, maybe. I am going to look at all the stats later, and we can figure that out. But yeah, no, actually it's not stronger than the leather glove, so the leather glove is optimal for right now. But it is optimal, the dagger is optimal for Patamon. So we're going to get 1, and we're going to get a bamboo spear for her as well. And then we're going to keep pushing. You can see me looking at armor, but right now isn't the time to purchase armor. There's not too many things in the game that hit that hard yet. Yet being the operative word. Things will be coming that are going to hit hard, but we're not going to get armor until we beat Pharaohmon. Up until there, we're going to be okay with basically running in the nude. One part about this game, if you want to make it a lot easier, the best defense is a good offense. Meaning, if you can kill something before it attacks you, especially something that hits stupidly hard or has an annoying side effect, all your problems go away. So that's something I'm trying to apply to this playthrough, is just making sure that I get the kill before the enemy even attacks me. Now, when it comes to ambushes where the enemy is already attacking you and you're de-evolved and all that stuff, that's just bad luck. But for the most part, you should be able to beat everything after a certain point before it attacks you, unless it's actually a boss monster. Now, on the other side of that coin, everything in this game hits hard as heck after a certain point. Especially, man, the first Digimon that's really going to put you on notice are stuff like Tuskmon and Coelamon, Triceramon. Those things, they're going to put you on notice that, yeah, you're in trouble if you don't figure something out. Shellmon's another one that's going to put you on notice. And then a lot of the bosses, 8mon for the East Sector. Shogun Gekumon doesn't hit hard. Its main problem is that it has Confused Nebula and a ton of health. So you're just guaranteed to just have to suffer through it. Gekumon in general is going to be a problem for that reason. But Gekumon regulars, they don't have that much health. You just kind of have to deal with them as they come through. Yeah. Coelamon especially, because that's going to be so common in South Sector. You'll get to learn the Digimon that just give you a headache every time you see them. Kizamon, kinda early. After you get some basic armor on, Kizamon's no longer a problem. Now, this is a good idea that I had. I saw paralysis and I was like, ooh, Mamemon is a massive problem. It's probably the scariest Digimon in the entire West Sector. It's the ace of the 3rd gym leader. And then I look at this antidote disc and I'm like, I can't think of any Digimon that are that problematic with poison. That was a mistake. Because you're going to see during this very video that was a mistake, and I should have got at least 1, maybe 2 of those. And it has to do with our current objective. Minor spoiler. Here I'm kind of just confused about which order I want things to go in, because I only have 2 Digimon. If the first one faints, I need a backstop that's definitely going to get the job done. So I'm like, do I want to start with Kumamon or do I want to start with Patamon? Well, if I start with Patamon and Patamon runs out of MP, right, then Patamon's going to have a very hard time defeating the next Digimon. Whereas if I start with Kumamon and then I use it as a backstop, well, when do I stop training Kumamon? I stop training Kumamon when its health gets low. So if I try to use it as a backstop and its health is low, I might just end up dying because I don't have enough health. So it's kind of a catch-22. There's no real good option here. I think eventually I came to that conclusion that it's better to train with Patamon and then just stop short so that you have some MP left. Because if you have some MP left, then you can use it as a backstop. Unlike with Kumamon, once it runs out of HP, then you're just kind of toast. So here's going to be our first side quest. this is down at this is called Shell Beach, I think. We're going to activate the quest by talking to Tang Yang, or just the old man at Shell Beach, however you want to say it. He's going to be the fisherman here. Tang Kong Wang, yeah. And then yeah. For such a clutch item, it's so interesting that they make it so difficult to understand what you actually need to do. But then again, that's what got people to buy the guides, right? So Gizamon's one of those Digimon that hits like a truck, but obviously if you can one-shot like I just did, it's no longer a problem. Betamon's one of your favorite Digimon to actually run into because it gives you free power charges from time to time that gives you 500 health back, which is basically most of your health at this point in the game. Now you see I'm fixing my guide, and I'm just like, do I actually... Actually, no, I don't think I'm fixing it at this point. I think I just accidentally clicked onto the wrong part, and it's just covering my whole screen. But yeah, the bamboo spear that we already got is the fishing pole. So you're not supposed to find an item called fishing pole. You're supposed to just buy that bamboo spear that I already bought and I equipped to Patamon. So you're gonna see me talking to random tamers here and there. The reason I'm doing that is to see if they want to fight me or card battle me or something. I would like to get some packs, but it doesn't look like that's going to be a thing. I don't have enough charisma yet. And that's one of the mechanics of this game, is that as you get equipment and level up, you'll get more charisma. Now, I'm not going to use this buckler because it's a defensive item. And as I said earlier, the best defense is a good offense. So maybe it would be optimal with Patamon right now, just because Patamon has isn't one-shotting things anyway, but eventually it will, and it'll do it faster if I use weapons. So that's why I look at it and I just make sure that I can't equip the buckler, which I cannot because I already have 2 full hands. That's one thing I don't like, honestly, is that you can't equip any type of shield if you have a weapon in that hand. But I guess that's the same way in Dark Souls, Elden Ring, all that good stuff. Like, if you're using a shield, you can't use a weapon, right? And then in the end, I'm just talking tamers, trying to see if they'll let me fight them. And we're just weaving our way through. Now, Grismon is very, 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 very strong for this point in the game. Like, I cannot understate or overstate exactly how powerful Grismon really is. Like, Kumamon, Grismon are just beating everything up at this point. And it's kind of sad that they end up falling so far behind later on because of how good they are right here, right now. But yeah, right now they are exceptionally good. Me too. Me too. I want a Vmon too. Unfortunately, I think that's one big mistake they made in this game, is making it take so long to get Vmon. Vmon should have been available by 2nd sector, and I think it's available in the 3rd sector. Like, you have to wait that long. I think you have to beat the real Seiryu Leader in order to get Vmon. Or it's the fake one. It's something like that. And then when you get it, it's like level 1 or level 5, something like that. So it's like really, really weak. It's like, it's pretty disappointing. It does turn to a beast eventually, but it's just the fact that you have to wait so long to get Vmon, and you've already got a couple unique items for it by then. Plus, you would have already run into a Vmon and had a major plot line with a Vmon if you did the Kicking Force plotline for the Kicking Boots. And on top of that, the Seiryu Leader has a freaking Vmon. It's so annoying that you don't get a Vmon until so late in the game. But it is kind of the easy button for getting Imperial Paladin mode, so I halfway understand it, but I still think it was a massive mistake on Bandai's point or Namco's point, whoever was responsible for that decision making, to not have Vmon be available more early than that, even if it's supposed to be a secret character. So now you see I've worked my way back to the gym. Both of these Digimon, Kumon and Patamon, have special evolutions that require you to have a stat buff in order to reach them at the most efficient time possible. So for Kumamon, you're going to need 80 spirit in order to unlock Kyubimon. And Kyubimon does have ultimate stats even though it's a champion. So we're going to make sure we get after that. I am going to abuse save states in order to make this happen basically guaranteed. And then for Patamon, you need to increase her wisdom in order to unlock Anjouamon. Her wisdom needs to go up to 180 by Anjouamon level 30. So if you didn't know about the training in this game, it allows you to kind of just scope your stats. It can actually allow you to max out your stats if you have enough TP training points, which you see in the bottom left here. You get 5 per level, if I'm not mistaken. And you always want to be using the maximum amount possible. So we're going to go ahead and there we go. If you get 3 in a row, or if you get 3 in a row and Super Train is a different number, then you get another shot, which will make you even stronger. And then you see I'm scrolling down here trying to figure out what Patamon needs. Patamon needs 180, as I said before. Kumon only needed 80 because Spirit's one of the slowest stats. Not mistaken, it's actually its lowest stat. But yeah. Now we're going to move on to Patamon. We're going to try to get some answers, some questions on a quiz correctly. Save state before that. And these stats are going to help out. Now, normally if you see somebody speed run, they're going to also go for speed here. Speed is probably the best stat in the game. That's not a probably, it's definitely the best stat in the game because it affects your crit rate, how often you move, your accuracy. It affects so many things that are so important that just having higher speed 9 times out of 10 will solve a lot of your problems. So if there's one stat you want to max out immediately, it's going to be speed. I don't do that here. I am going to try to wait until I can super train a bit. Man, that sucks. I hate to see it, the last second failure there. This does kind of work on a RNG where if you time it correctly, you'll always get the same outcome. I learned that the hard way because I was like reloading, hitting buttons a long time ago, and I always got the exact same outcome. I was like, why is this happening? And then I learned, like, yeah, if you wait just a little bit longer, you'll get a different outcome. But now we've got the stats we need to guarantee that we're going to get Kyubimon for Grismon, Kumamon, and we're also going to get Anjouamon when the time comes for Angemon. However, Angemon itself is actually going to be quite powerful in the upcoming boss fights. A little bit of a spoiler alert there, but we're going to be relying heavily on Angemon here. And here you see where Angemon's biggest problem is going to be. Once it digivolves the first time into Angemon, it doesn't have any load abilities. So it's kind of the most vulnerable it's ever going to be because it has to rely on its very, very bad attack stat, which is borderline non-existent even with 2 weapons attached. So we're just going to slowly take our time, grind it up to level 5. We'll finally learn Air Blast and have an attack to use. Now, Air Blast isn't going to allow it to one-shot everything, but allow it to one-shot some things. We don't count Kunamon as a thing that needs to be one-shot, by the way. We should be there already. Speaking of Kunamon, I always liked Kunamon a little bit, especially from this game and from the Digimon card back in the day, and it looks like almost like a Weedle with a lightning bolt on it and some blue on it. It just looks so like a way cool Weedle, honestly. And then Digimon Survive came out, and then I love it now. It's like, yeah, Kunamon is awesome. The only thing I don't like about it is its movement. In Digimon Survive is trash, but that's, I mean, they've got to short some of the starters. Unfortunately, Kunamon got the short end of the stick there. So what we're doing here is we're grinding for a spider web that's going to be our fishing line. Again, if you didn't know that, it's crazy, right? That they expect you to understand that a spider web is supposed to be a fishing line here. I don't know if there was an NPC you could talk to that was going to tell you, hey, you should fight some Dokumon for spider web to get the key item that you need. But we finally got it just here, as you saw. I'm going to go ahead and save state that just in case we lose. Save stating kind of just allows you to make sure that you save any meaningful progress you make during the game. The reason why save states are so crucial is, just like I said, this is not Pokemon. If you lose, you go back to the title screen and you have to reload from the last inn that you were rested at. And that could be a long time from when you actually got killed. It's not like Pokemon where you have the option to black out and just, well, you have the option to save anywhere, number one. And then you also have the option to black out, which will take you to the nearest Pokemon Center. Nope, you're screwed. Start all the way over from the last time you saved. Yeah, rough. It's a rough game, guys. It's not easy. We're going to stop by and say hi to this Airdramon. We are not going to see it for another, let's say 20 hours. That might be overstating, but I'm going to say 20. Now you see our second shop here is going to be the Seiryu shop. Here we're going to do some upgrading. Mostly for Patamon, because Patamon's the one that's not getting the one shots that it needs. In retrospect, after playing this, I think I should have upgraded Kumon a bit too. But then again, I do have to worry about my money as well. And I can't spend all my money all the time, right? So I have to think about what I'm going to get back, yada yada. But right now, I definitely want to upgrade Patamon's weapon, just because I am using a bamboo spear right now. And since I'm using a bamboo spear that I'm going to trade in later, she needs a second weapon. And we're going to move forward from there. So the most important thing you're going to do in this city is talk to this guy, Repeating Tom. He's going to tell you to go to the Protocol Ruins and talk to Seiryu Leader. If you try going to the Protocol Ruins before this, it's not going to work out for you. He's just going to be like, who are you and why are you talking to me? So make sure you go ahead and talk to Repeating Tom here first, then go to Protocol Ruins. Alright, so now we're on our way to the Protocol Ruins, but on the way there, we're going to try out some card battles just to see where we stand. And spoiler alert, it's not going to be very good for us. Our first hand actually isn't that bad. If I knew what I was doing, I could have played that a lot better. But, you know, I was just trying to get a feel for how good I am versus how good the opponents are. And at the end of the day, I'm not very good at all. So I'm going to need some new cards in order to make myself stronger here. You can see I'm taking advantage of this area not being too rough in order to train Angemon. Especially we are able to kill the Yanmamon in one shot with Air Blast. Sometimes I forget and I just attack them, but we can kill them in one shot with Air Blast here. Here we're going to look at some cards, but as you can tell, they're not going to be very impressive and they're going to be too expensive for what they are. So we're going to let them go. Obviously, I don't even have the money for one card that I would want here. So, important note, going down this bridge here after we get rid of this Betamon is going to give you the third and final component that you need for the fishing rod. That is going to be the red snapper. It's going to be stuck in the Pharaohmon's throat. So go ahead and help him out by talking to him and you'll get it. Yeah, being able to knock a Crabmon out in one hit, that feels really good. And that kind of gives you the difference between the special attacks and the physical attacks in this game. Obviously, it's more sturdy against physical attacks. So knocking it out with a special attack feels really, really good. Yeah, so we're going to equip this bandana. We just found 2 Patamon. Reason being, Patamon's already having issues killing things, and as I said, the best defense is good offense. But in the case where your offense is not good at any case, then you need to invest in defense. That technique small heal is actually going to come incredibly clutch. The entirety of Patamon's moveset, Patamon's probably the most well thought out of all the Digimon, honestly. The entirety of its moveset and its Digivolve set and all that is just very optimal for what it wants to do. So we're starting to close in on our objective. Pharaohmon. We swapped over to Grismon in the lead here. Saw it learn the technique Rowan. Rowan is going to be a useful technique for us in some cases. Wind is a very limited element. It's mostly useful against insect type Digimon and ghosts, evil Digimon, that type of deal. But it's going to be useful in the long term, not in the very short term. We're going to use a lot of lightning and whirlwind. They're basically the same thing for most of these enemies that we're going to run into. Now, as for Pharaohmon itself, its only weakness is fire. If we were running Gilmon, this would be a bit easier than it is, but we are not, so we don't get the benefit of having a fire attack. However, we're not going to need it. What we would need is a antidote disc that we do not have currently. That's because it has an ability called Necromist. That ability can poison you. So we're going to get ready to face off against him for the first time. Hint, hint. And we're going to see where it goes from there. By the way, is the Digimon god he's talking about Yggdrasil or what? Anyway, this is my favorite BGM in the game, so go ahead and listen to that. And yeah, this is just incredibly efficient for Pharaohmon because now it's going to use its harder hitting attacks while I'm getting hit for a big chunk of my health every time I attack. And this poison, what kind of poison just knocks you on your butt every time it like ticks? That's such a weird looking poison. But yeah, it's digital. We can't really worry about it. But yeah, Pharaohmon is just going to whoop the crap out of Grismon off of a lucky poison proc. This is actually kind of crazy, right? Because up until now, Grismon has been completely dominant in every fight. And now it's just got 3 hit KO'd. However, Patamon, unfortunately, it doesn't have enough range to knock this guy out. We're going to see a struggle here. And you can see I just go ahead and reload there because it's already happening. So this time we're going to approach this a little bit differently. We'll be able to figure this out. If I'm not mistaken, we're just going to go ahead and gain 1 level here. Actually be at level 8. And then we'll go ahead and knock out Pharaohmon here. So as I spoke on before, Patamon's Small Heal is such a useful ability. At this point in the game, it's going to basically heal you up to full. I think it gets you for like 600, 700 health at a time. So you're going to be able to make that work a long way, especially with it only costing 16 MP every time. So that's another way where Patamon is going to be very useful. But we're going to be able to abuse that in a different way, you'll see later. So without the poison on me, I'm actually quite a bit more able to knock out its health with Kumon, especially with this critical hit we just got. It's going to be very useful for us. Now, in order to make sure that Kumon does get the experience for this fight, after its health gets too low, I am going to swap out. And here we got blocked. So that kind of balances out the crit we got earlier. The poison's going to hit us again. It's just unfortunate. It seems like it always happens. Now, in this case, I would not have used the antidote disc because I'm already so low in health that giving up a turn wouldn't make any sense. However, Pharaohmon does kind of throw against Kumamon by allowing it to live here. Now, just to be certain that Kumamon doesn't get blocked and invaded and die, we are going to swap out to Angemon here. So, and now this time Angemon definitely has the range to two-shot. So we're going to be okay, probably, as long as it doesn't get too many blocks. As you can see, Pharaohmon is doing a lot of damage, so it's questionable, but we should be able to make it rock. It's going to hit again. It's really not messing around with Patamon. It wants Patamon dead. But Patamon hangs on with one hit point, that bandana proving very clutch. And we're going to go ahead and blow it away. No lucky block for Pharaohmon here. And just like that, Pharaohmon defeated. And with that, he's going to give us the old wand, which is going to be our first wand that's able to buff Patamon's spirit power, which is what it uses for all the magical skills that he uses. Now, strictly speaking, beating Pharaohmon is not a requirement. However, it does give us the old wand, which we can use to upgrade it to the stronger legendary weapons, the strongest legendary wand later. And also, it does give you quite a bit of experience points, which is good for this point in the game. Alright, so dropping down from Pharaohmon's throne, don't accidentally miss this by the way, this is a guaranteed encounter with the MasterTyrannomon here. MasterTyrannomon is the strongest thing inside of this area, besides Pharaohmon himself, so go ahead and blast him to pieces, and you'll be done. Now, fortunately, Patamon can quickly score the 2-hit, and then we can continue. The other thing I really like about this game is how it uses angles. I don't like the, what would you say, the way it's like slanted, but I do like that sometimes you can't see your character except for like the HUD thingy that goes around your head that looks like a planet. And look at this guy. He has a Vmon. Why can't we have a Vmon? That's just it's just disappointing that we weren't able to get also have a Vmon quite early into the game. Like right after beating this guy. I would love if we could beat Seiryu Leader and then immediately get Vmon. That'd be really cool. And here we're seeing exactly how powerful this small heal is. Again, completely healing from almost no health. So very early in the game, it's a very strong item to have. And I guess that's my beef with the term Maniac Pack, because Patamon is so versatile and useful, and you're going to see in the next couple boss battles what I mean, that it's not really a Maniac Pack at all. It's very, very, what's the word, consistent. I would say it's extremely consistent in how it basically gives you all the tools you need, even if Kumamon is the weakest of the three main starters. It's quite a good pack. So back at Protocol Ruins, we were told by our buddy Seiryu Leader, who isn't really our buddy. He's a mark. He's a victim. He's a target, and we're after him. That he won't fight us until we beat MasterTyrannomon. Big chicken, right? So the goal level for MasterTyrannomon for us is going to be level 11. So once we take care of that, we'll be able to go back and fight Seiryu Leader. Now, the thing about the area that MasterTyrannomon stays in, Tyranno Valley, is that the monsters here there hit very extremely hard. So this is going to be the first time we buy armor, unless I skip it for some reason. I'm pretty sure we'll come back and buy armor. I might have just slipped my mind right there. But we're going to go ahead and get the best armor we can buy, and then we're going to go from there. So here you see I'm doing things a little bit backwards. Instead of getting armored up, I'm going straight into Tyranno Valley. And it's just because I'm so rusty at the game. I'm first learning, hey, like what versus Tyrannomon or Tyrannomon, how much damage am I taking? And obviously I'm taking quite a bit. I'm taking more damage than I'm dealing, which means that I need armor. Because I can't do more damage. I've already got all the weapons I could have. So now we gotta go back and get some armor. So I kind of make that decision pretty quickly here. I might end up fighting one more Triceramon. Nope, I'm actually out of there already. And yeah, we're gonna try to take out this Woodmon. I don't know if we actually survive this fight or not. I think I can't because I needed Air Blast to two-shot it. That's not gonna happen here. So we'll switch over to Grismon. Go ahead and take that bad boy out. And he's down. Just like that. And again, that small hill is just so beautiful at this point in the game. From 1 HP to full HP, one shot. Love it. And now, as I alluded to earlier, I'm gonna go ahead and buy some armor. Because I figured out, hey, I was kind of being stupid there. That was kind of silly. We need to get our lives together. So I'm looking around the store. Just to save you guys some time, it's going to be 10 mil and it's going to be 10 helmet, which works for both. And the gym suit, even though it's significantly cheaper, I just want to max out my defense. I don't really care about the price right now because I'm just going to sell it back later anyway. And money is going to be a lot easier to come by in the south sector. Yeah, when it comes to money, you don't want to start restricting yourself according to money until you've beaten the second gym leader. Once you've beaten the second gym leader, then it's about time for you to start slowing down and start, thinking about what you're doing. But by then, a lot of your important items are also going to be random drops, or you're going to be picking them up. But yeah, your armor and weapons, you're almost always going to buy those. And with this loadout, we're going to be significantly more competent in Tyranno Valley. So one thing I want to talk to that I didn't talk to earlier was why I put away Guilmon. So every time you see, every time you go to the end, you have to pay per Digimon. So in Oscar City, it was 8-bit. Over here, it's 16-bit, I believe. And that starts adding up significantly. So you can cut off 50% of that cost, or really, you could cut off 33% of that cost. If you add one from 2, then it'd be 50% plus. You can cut off a significant portion of that cost, especially by the time you get to the western sector. That gets really, really pricey, just by not carrying extra Digimon that you don't need. So yeah, here's 16-bit, so that's 32-bit instead of 48-bit, which doesn't seem like a lot because I'm getting maybe 20-bit a fight. But later on, it's going to be very significant the amount of money that we can save by not having an extra Digimon. And that'll help us get better weapons faster. One crucial occurrence that you're seeing is that Patamon, as it's taking damage, its blast gauge is building up here, and that's going to be important in the future. The ability to blast that Digimon until the next level is very important. So you can see our target level for MasterTyrannomon is going to be level 11. At this point, I wasn't sure if that was the case, so I was kind of just aiming for level 10. But again, hindsight is 2020. Level 11 is a better level to approach MasterTyrannomon. Um, that said, we're going to be able to beat him, even though we're not going to quite get there, just because of Angemon being so powerful against bosses. So you might have just missed it, but a couple seconds ago, I did pick up the firepower one, which was one of my target items to pick up. Not necessarily wanting 3 copies of it or 2 copies of it, just one. But it is going to help us out later on against 8mon. Getting 2 of them would be very good because then obviously I'd have 2 Digimon that could deal maximum damage to 8mon. But 1 is good enough. We just need to equip it to Angemon later. And here I'm just kind of thinking about it. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna give this guy a try. Even though I'm nowhere near the right level, I'm gonna give this guy a try. MasterTyrannomon is legitimately one of my favorite Tyrannomon variants that barely ever gets used. I wish it got a lot more use. The weird part is that there's so many different variations of Tyrannomon at the champion ultimate level, but at the mega level, there's only one, which is Rust Tyrannomon. I would love to see more variants of Mega Tyrannomon. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does Master Tyrannomon digivolve into? So the subreddit for Digimon recently, and by recently I mean weeks ago, so it's going to be buried there. They had like a poll or, hey, who should get a Bancho Digivolution? And in my opinion, the Tyrannomon definitely should get one. There should be a Bancho Tyrannomon. And I would love to see Master Tyrannomon become Bancho Tyrannomon. I do love that Tyrannomon did get some shine in Digimon Survive. That was awesome. I wish that they used the full line instead of just one piece of it. But Triceramon didn't. Triceramon wasn't a bad choice. I just didn't like the final evolution being Dynarexmon, which looked really, really weird because of how small it is compared to how big the other 2 are. But it is what it is. Anyway, this fight is kind of just a battle of wills, who has more stats. But here's the first time you're going to see Angemon being put to the test in a boss fight as far as what it can really do. So earlier we picked up a skill called Double Guard. That's going to be a very useful skill for us. Now here I actually got pretty lucky because if I don't block that first hit, I do lose here. But since I did block that hit successfully, and this one as well, we were able to continue stacking up more defense powers. And from there, you should already know what's about to happen. Now, Gate of Destiny is an interesting ability. It does do good damage, but at the same time, it also has the chance to instantly KO the enemy. I don't get the procs here, unfortunately, but just keep that in mind that it can just decide to one hit kill the enemy here. It can decide to do so. Now, MasterTyrannomon was our first actual mandatory boss fight, and he's going to give us the Old Claw, which we can use for Agumon, Gilmon, or Vmon. But we're not going to worry about it for a long time because, like I complained earlier on the stream, we're not going to get Vmon for another 4 hours or so. And what you're seeing here is just how much harder boss battles are in comparison to the Digimon in the areas. Now, Tyranno Valley is not a low-level area, but just look at how Kumamon eats this. And it can even eat another one. Now, yep, I'm just gonna go ahead and two-hit, ain't it? Oh no, missed a two-hit by just a smidge. I think this air blast is going to be enough to put Kumamon down. Yes, it will. But Patamon's got very easy work ahead of it. Very easy work. And then, yeah, he's just going to go ahead and knock that guy out. The biggest injustice in Digimon I can think of here is that Airdramon never got its own Digivolutions. Like, it feels like it's an abandoned line. Whereas Seidramon got... it honestly has two complete lines. It has Mega Seidramon, Metal Seidramon. It also has Rose Seidramon and what was it, like Chaos Metal Seidramon or something like that. And then it's got the Giga Seidramon as well with the X antibody. It can jog us into Aegistramon. It just gets so much stuff as Seidramon, whereas Airdramon feels like it just doesn't get anything at all. They should really revisit that line and see if they can give it a proper Ultimate and Mega. As you can see up top, our current objective is going to be the Seiryu Leader's Apemon. That is his ace as a gym leader. Gym leaders in this game kind of work pretty similarly to Pokemon gym leaders, where their strongest Digimon is going to come out last usually, and it's going to be a huge problem compared to the rest of the members of their team. In this case, Apemon is a massive problem because of how quickly it moves. So you're going to see that it's going to abuse the crap out of my Digimon when we get there because I'm not going to be at level 13, which is my recommendation now in hindsight. I'm going to be at level maybe 11. Cubimon is a strange Digimon. Now think about it this way. Most champions don't have the stats that Cubimon does. It's actually at the same level, base stat total wise, as an ultimate. So getting into Cubimon is a advantageous thing at this point in the game, especially since it'll be able to do a lot of damage to Bulkmon with its lightning attacks, which are actually stronger than Grismon's, even though Grismon or Kumamon has a higher attack stat than a spirit stat. Now here you see me do something completely unnecessary, which is go back to the protocol ruins looking for Seiryu Leader. Again, I am quite rusty at this game. I apologize for that. You do not need to do that. All you need to do is go to Seiryu Tower. He's already there. However, this is a good thing because I was very well underleveled for this fight. So I need to do the leveling that I did do on the way there and back. So this does end up working out in the long run. And again, this fight will always occur. If you drop off this cliff, you don't even have to try to move. You're going to get into a fight with Pharaohmon here. And fortunately, we'll be able to put it down quite quickly, it seems. Surprise Pikachu face, there's nobody there. Yeah, so back to Seiryu City we go. Now, the only real issue with Kumamon becoming Cubimon is that its MP is so low that it can't really spam out the attacks the same way that a Renamon, or honestly any other Cubimon can. Um, Kumon Cubimon kind of has to rely on its overwhelming attack power, unlike a regular Cubimon or any other Cubimon that you would get. Here you saw we got XVmon. We're not going to use that thing, honestly. There's no real reason for us to go that route. Um, yeah, there's just nothing. There's nothing that going the Pyodramon, Stingamon route gives us. Um, Now, if you want to go that way for Grand Kawagamon and get Impact Rush or something like that, you could, but you really don't need to because you're going to get those same moves from Marsmon. And after quite a while of training and beating side bosses and collecting items, we are finally ready to take on the first gym leader in Digimon World 3. So we're going to get our stuff ready. I'm going to double think, do I want to use Grismon? Maybe, maybe not. No, I don't really. We're going to stick with Kyubimon here. And then we're going to go for it. As you can see, I'm kind of stuck here like, Grismon maybe, Kyubimon maybe. So I think the logic that ends up prevailing is once I unlock Taomon, I'm not immediately going to be able to use it. So it'd be easier to switch back to Grismon and get the extra leveling I need there done. Because I want to get it up to level 35 to load Whirlwind. And I'll do that leveling then. While I go look for a Digimon Lab, a Piximon, or Dr. Katamatsu in order to get Taomon available. So this was my first misplay. I should have just used 3 Thunderbolts because I would have got the kill there. But it's not going to matter here because I am going to be able to knock out Minotauromon. Now, remember how much Kumamon outspeeds this Minotauromon for later, by the way. Because it's going to put into perspective exactly how fast, how quick the 8mon that ends up almost obliterating our dreams here is. And now the boss fight truly starts. Now remember, I double attacked on his first Digimon, the MasterTyrannomon, and now the 8mon is still double attacking on me. And this damage hurts. It really hurts. So we're going to try the same thing we did before with double guarding. But I'm going to spoil this for you. We're going to be here for a minute. And we're going to get very, very lucky that we don't get bad crits at the wrong time. Because all it would take is the wrong crit at the wrong time to basically end this fight. And this is why I said it would have been so much better if I came back at level 13 instead of what I tried to do it at. At this level, it's just not enough damage. I would have already had done more damage with my Cubimon probably. And then on top of that, Angemon would be able to soak more damage safely. And I'd be able to do more damage with it. Another critical piece that I'm missing here is that I could have speed trained my Digimon once or twice at the gym in order to make sure that they got the speed tie, if not the speed advantage against 8mon, or at least prevented this kind of looping from happening. Because you're going to see after I attack 8mon, so one of the mechanics that is different from Pokemon for sure is that your stages wear off. So all these defense buffs, they're all going to wear off as soon as I attack 8mon here. Now 8mon is weak to fire, which is why it's great that I got that fire power. But as soon as I attack and I'm no longer trying to buff or heal, you're going to see that my defense drops to normal. And now it's going to be doing a buttload of damage to me. And now I've got to heal and then try to reset. So we're going to speed up the fight significantly. It's now at times 10 speed because of how long this process is going to take. We're probably going to go through it 2 or 3 more loops of buffing up, getting one attack off, and then resetting my defense and then having to rebuild that defense. So it's just a process. You gotta slowly whittle it down. But fortunately, the process doesn't last forever here because there is something called a blast gauge that is slowly building up as well as we take all this damage from Pharaohmon. So you're going to see that happen now. So that sound effect you just heard was the instant kill sound effect. So with that, we defeat Pharaohmon in a single shot. That said, Angemon has hard carried us, but pretty soon we're going to be getting rid of it. We're going to be getting a new favorite Digimon. So with that, we've got our first badge, and we're going to move forward. And on the next video, we'll be going to the second badge after doing some side questing first, of course, because nothing is that simple in this game. But that's what we love about it, right? So, as always, I've been me. You've been awesome. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.